Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all this morning. We're going to get started now. Welcome to the third annual Sustainability Connect. And we've got agendas on all of the tables for your reference. And I want to just really begin by taking the time to thank my team, and particularly Susie, who takes the lead on behalf of our team. But a quick thank you to my team, Rebecca, Susie, of course, I mentioned, Derek, Paul, Steve. I'm looking around for all of them. Can you guys just raise your hands? Because I think most people know you, but there's some new folks in the room. Brian, Emma, and Paul. And so they do this on top of their day jobs. So we just think this is a really important event. We just want to actually begin the program with some familiar faces from a video that we put together from last year. And we're going to kick off with this.
The campus is not just a collection of buildings. It's a very particular place here in the city of Cambridge, a very dense city. How does it nurture us, and how does it nurture our mental health?
The well-being of our environment, how we impact it and how it impacts us, is equally as important as our own mindfulness and our own attention to our own well-being.
It is so important for us to recognize that people have their eyes on MIT, that we have to figure out how to tackle these complex challenges, and we have to grapple with these issues at the local level.
MIT would do wonderfully if it set the example that we can go to zero net emissions on the MIT campus sometime in this century. And what is our plan to do that?
MIT is a leader, and the question as we look towards climate change adaptation as well as climate mitigation is what role it will play for the larger Cambridge and metropolitan setting.
Now we have a clear sort of call to pull in the same direction.
Our commitment to sustainability and the challenges that can be solved at the local level can infuse coursework.
MIT is the perfect place to have a living laboratory because there's so much emphasis on research here on campus. If students know that their project is going to be implemented on campus, or they have a chance to change the way campus works, change the way that their community works, it's just going to increase that curiosity among students to go and do research.
MIT cannot plan for climate change on its own. Adaptation is primarily a collaborative decision-making problem. There's going to be water in the wrong places at the wrong time. We know there's going to be increasing storm intensity, and we know there's going to be an increasing number of hot days in a row in the summer.
Renewable strategies are one of the things that really connect us as MIT and our research mission to the community and the country and internationally.
That's one of MIT's strengths, is we've got some crazy ideas and we're not afraid to pursue them.
I'm optimistic largely because I see young people really now engaging in this.
It really is going to take full commitment of community engagement, collective leadership, collective intelligence to inform our direction. Well, that was a bit of a flashback to last year, so thanks to all of you who contributed. And we're going to continue to capture these moments with our friends from Video Services, and I highly encourage this as a reference for folks who aren't able to attend today. I think it really captures the vibrant spirit and the direction that we've set here at MIT. So again, for those of you who've been here before and those of you who are just joining us, Sustainability Connect is intended to be a brief moment in time to pause from our daily work, eat some good food, look up, take stock of the work that's happening around you. And we encourage you to take a moment today. I know it's hard to take a moment from basically the busy lives that we all lead here on a daily basis, but connect with your colleagues from other departments. Many of you are sitting at tables with that have a combination of staff, faculty, and students, folks from the academic side, Matimco. We have some MIT alum who've joined us who are sitting on various committees as well. So it's a nice mix, and we're going to encourage some of the departments to mix up as well. The outcomes, we've come together. We really seek to connect with, see connectivity between projects today, and we're going to be setting you up for that with the various workshops. And we invite you to join us to provide directional and conceptual guidance and feedback via our workshop sessions that you'll be participating in. The outcomes from these workshops, as you've already experienced from past Sustainability Connect events, really guide our collective work throughout the year ahead. So 2 years ago, when we launched this event, we challenged ourselves to determine how MIT can be a game-changing force for sustainability in the 21st century. And I'm so pleased to be able to report on, we actually set out to create a campus sustainability model that advances the mission of academic excellence of MIT and transforms our campus in yet another demonstration of MIT's ability to marshal knowledge in addressing the world's greatest challenges. And we're at a place where we can now begin to point to a few of these game-changing and transformative efforts MIT has made in this short period of time, some of which we'll hear about in greater detail on the panel today, and some of which many of you around the tables have already been involved in. So to begin, we have Access MIT was launched this year, which enables a progressive vision for rethinking the culture of commuting and encouraging sustainable transportation practices. As you know, commuters now have flexibility to choose day to day how they would like to commute to campus. In each of these, I'd like you to raise your hand if you were involved with Access MIT at some level, either on the transportation committee or in the research front. So just get a sense of how many people were involved in that. Thank you. The next one is MIT. MIT advanced our commitment to climate mitigation by joining with two local partners, Boston Medical and Post Office Square Redevelopment Corporation, and a 25-year power purchase agreement with Dominion Resources. How many of you are involved with that? Raise your hands. Again, another handful of people. I would also, you'll hear about that on one of the panels. I'd also like to bring to your attention 4, I would argue, game-changing projects that are now in the launch phase. We recently launched our, I'm going to have to just toggle some slides here, sorry about this. Our first terms of use agreement for data sharing between the Office of Sustainability and Procurement. This will lead to a groundbreaking material flow analysis of the goods we procure, use, and dispose of. Moreover, this will also provide grounds for a doctoral dissertation in the Institute for Data Systems and Society. And you'll hear more about that today. Phase 1 of our climate vulnerability analysis in the form of a flood vulnerability study is now complete. This is a partnership between sustainability, facilities, utilities, planning, emergency management, insurance, and many researchers in the joint program on the science of global change and Earth atmosphere and planetary sciences. And thanks to a generous donor interested in leveraging the campus as a test bed, we launched the first of its kind campus sustainability incubator fund at MIT with the oversight of a faculty committee representing the 5 schools. And we will be announcing the awards for these recipients by June 1st. And then last month, we unveiled our new website, thanks to the tireless efforts of Susie Jones and our team. And I really encourage you, please go take a look at this when you have a chance. And moreover, if you identify something that's taking place in your department or an opportunity to connect via our website, not today, but at some point after today, let Susie and I and team know so we can continue to build this as a resource for all of you. So the common thread here is that each of these successes that are multi-departmental collaborations and truly bridge academic and operational efforts. Today's program, Cultivating the Campus as a Testbed, Harvesting a Better Future for All, endeavors to collectively strategize about the intersection of 2 major initiatives, innovation and sustainability, and the integration of these initiatives via the campus as a testbed. And it's in this context that we invite you to make the familiar strange today. We encourage you to reflect upon what you perceive as ordinary decisions you make at work and look at it from a new perspective. Take the time today to seek a new angle on a project you're managing, a solution you're contemplating, or a decision that you're considering. Take a moment and determine how the human health and environmental impacts of those decisions could be minimized. We have a dynamic day ahead of us, and beginning with a speaker who will stretch our own thinking and encourage us to seek that new angle. That will be followed by a rhythm of panel, then workshop, and coffee and lunch in between. So I'd like to now introduce Tony Sharon, Deputy Executive Vice President, to say a few words of welcome. Thanks, Tony, and thanks for your ongoing support of this.
So I think Julie did a good job thanking her team, but I think I'd like to thank Julie for all her work in putting this together, because this will be, I'm sure, the third home run of the Sustainability Connect. So Julie, thank you so much for all the hard work that you put in. I'd also like to thank all of you, because I know this time of year is extremely busy. So we have all of our governance boards and graduation coming up and a lot of activities, alumni visiting and everything. So there's a lot of other work going on besides our J jobs and sustainability. So all of you out there, thank you for your help. So one of the things, Julie did a good rundown of the agenda today and some of the accomplishments that we've made over time. But I think what I'd like to do is say, from where I sit in my perspective of meeting with all of you in your day-to-day jobs, is the tremendous movement we've made in the area of sustainability. When we first started meeting on these subjects, the topic was, give me a sustainability checklist. Give me 5, 6 things to do, and I'll check them off and pass them off to Julie, and then she won't bother me anymore. Right? And what I've seen is a transformation that has moved beyond a checklist to actual problem solving. And that is probably, for me, the most rewarding part of all the work that Julie and her team have put in, and all of you have responded to her challenges over time. I mean, just a few indicators from where I sit. We've moved beyond the discussion of LEED Gold, like give me the list of everything that needs to do, towards passive house and net zero ready. And it's in a mode of not a checklist, but problem solving. How do we do the day-to-day work of constructing our buildings, and especially a new one on the line, the Vassar dormitory, is how do we get there? And then where we fall short, what do we need to do? How do we mobilize the MIT research and faculty and principal investigators to help us do better on the next one? We've also, among the staff, due to your participation and the help, and a big thanks to Professor John Fernandez, the director of the Environmental Solutions Initiative, who held a very straightforward, kind of an orientation session that transmitted the facts of what does it take to actually build and design and pay for buildings that'll move us into passive house and net zero, as well as net positive. And I'm watching these things being applied across building projects and design projects all across the board. These are just one example of how we convert the day-to-day operations of MIT into making it into a living laboratory for solving our sustainability issues. So from where I sit, the sustainability vector has a positive direction, and we have lots of opportunities to influence that vector and put it in, have magnitude and impact in the right direction. We have the opportunity to invent the way we not only build the buildings, so we have a whole host of buildings that give us a set of problems, from dormitories to laboratories, but also our open space. So I encourage you to get familiar with what we're trying to do in the West Campus Plan and the West Campus Commons, because there's a host of opportunities there. We are also, with the power plant and our distribution systems, rethinking how we provide energy. And with the analytics in place, there's a lot of room for analysis, critique, and learning. So on behalf of the MIT administration, thanks for participating, and I'll turn the podium back over to Julie.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Julian Adjaman. Julian is a professor of urban and environmental policy and planning at Tufts. Some of you in the room have actually studied with Julian over the past couple of years. His key areas of expertise are just sustainabilities, policy and planning, environmental and food justice, planning in and for intercultural cities. He's the originator of the increasingly influential concept of just sustainabilities, which seeks to call for the full integration of social justice and sustainability. And he articulates this as the need to ensure a better quality of life for all, now and into the future, in a just and equitable manner, whilst living within the limits of supporting ecosystems. Trained initially as an ecologist, biogeographer, Julian has become a critical urban studies and environmental social science scholar. He has a wide range of publications which number over 160. Julian has played, I would argue, a formative role for our field in framing, articulating, and advocating for the human dimension and systemic perspective of sustainability, as you will hear today. I met Julian in 2000, soon after he arrived to teach at Tufts University, and we've remained quite connected ever since that time. And I, too, have been working on finding a new angle on sustainability while at MIT, and I recently found the angle again that led me back to Julian's work. So please join me in welcoming my friend, my colleague, and mentor, Professor Julian Agyeman.